Initially, Resident Evil started as a Japanese action horror video game series, and it became extremely popular all over the world, captivating video game enthusiasts with its immersive atmosphere and gameplay. Eventually, it expanded and ended up becoming an extremely popular movie series as well. As of now, it's a massive media franchise, which includes video games, live action and animated movies, television shows, comic books, novels, audio dramas, and merchandise. As it turns out, it's still going strong. Recently, the 9th main game in the video game franchise, titled Resident Evil Requiem, was released, and a second reboot of the film series, directed by Zach Cregger, is going to be released soon, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are excited about. Being an action horror media franchise doesn't have a shortage of weird and scary monsters. In this video, we're going to discuss the 10 weirdest Resident Evil monsters no one seems to talk about. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right in. Tick. Resident Evil Sega Saturn. The Umbrella Corporation developed these bioorganic weapons at the Arclay laboratory during the 1990s. They look like an offshoot of the Hunter Project, and they were deliberately designed that way. They were exclusively added to the Sega Saturn version of the original Resident Evil, in which they replaced all Hunter encounters after entering the courtyard underground. Even gameplay-wise, they're functionally a reskin of the Hunters, and they're not behaviorally or statistically different from them either, barring a few exceptions. For example, the Ticks are able to kill the player by stretching out an arm really far. Hunters, on the other hand, are able to do that through their jumping kills from mid to long range. The Ticks were even mentioned in guidebooks for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and Code Veronica. George A. Romero wrote a movie screenplay based on the video game series, in which the Hunters shared a stronger physical resemblance to the Ticks. Eventually, that screenplay was rejected. Suspended. Resident Evil Outbreak. Before becoming who she eventually became, the Suspended was a civilian who was infected with the T-virus in the Raccoon City destruction incident in 1998. She turned into a zombie in a hotel named Apple Inn and mutated into a form similar to Licker's. Compared to them, however, she retained a more human form, and her eyes and hair were visible even after mutation. And, just like humans, her brain tissue wasn't exposed either. Like the other Lickers, she can climb and hang on ceilings, and she can even use her tongue as a weapon. Overall, she's considered stronger than the other Lickers. Only one Suspended was confirmed during the Raccoon City destruction incident, which suggests that her mutation was unique to herself. The Suspended uses her tongue to attack her opponents in a variety of ways. One can see her carrying out tongue attacks with a single powerful lash. Her repeated tongue attack involves several weaker tongue lashes, followed by a final lash, which is more powerful. On hard and very hard modes, the Lickers will go below the Suspended as soon as the player rings the bell, as if they want to protect her. She's one of the weakest bosses in the whole Resident Evil video game franchise. 3 hits from the shotgun can kill her on easy mode, and only 2 to 5 grenade hits are enough to neutralize her. Against the spear, she doesn't stand a chance. Plague Crawler. Resident Evil 0. The Plague Crawler was an arthropod species created by Dr. James Marcus through the process of genetic engineering. Its creation was a part of Marcus's early experimentations into T-virus-based bioorganic weapons. After the T-virus was created in 1978, Dr. Marcus started researching the viability of T-virus-based bioorganic weapons, and the creation of the Plague Crawler was a part of that project. It was created by using the virus for a deliberate genetic modification. The Plague Crawler's DNA was merged from multiple insect species, and the T-virus was used as a bonding agent. Despite the fact that the creation of the Plague Crawler proved that the T-virus could create viable bioweapons, Dr. Marcus still considered the species a failure, as they don't possess intelligence and control, and therefore, they were impractical and unfit for military use. Ultimately, Dr. Marcus decided to destroy them at the Umbrella Executive Training School, but a few of them managed to escape the destruction and survived in the complex until 1998. Somehow, the research data on the Plague Crawlers also survived the destruction, as samples were purchased by Javier Hidalgo as low-cost bioweapons. The Plague Crawlers were lasting during Operation Javier in the Amazon rainforest in the year 2002. Javier held them captive in his torture chamber, where they, in turn, attacked and killed countless other victims. The Plague Crawler's maximum length is about 2 meters. They can attack their prey with aggressive tackling and large pincers, and they prefer to live in dark and wet areas. One can find them living in upper levels of the Umbrella Executive Training School. Gulpworm. Resident Evil Code Veronica. The Gulpworm was a bioweapon species created by merging earthworm DNA with the T-virus. It was created as an experiment to improve the earthworm genome. During the Rockford Island incident, the species was still in the prototype stages, as the only known sample was used as a mock opponent for Rockford Island's anti-BOW trainees. Claire Redfield was attacked by it while she was exploring the military training field. Eventually, it was killed by Chris Redfield after it swallowed Rodrigo Juan Raval. After it died, it spat out Rodrigo. Rodrigo suffered acid burns throughout his body, and as a result, he didn't survive either. The Gulpworm can feel vibrations that are emitted through sound and movement, and it uses that ability for hunting. After detecting prey, it launches its mass towards the target, knocks it to the ground, and completely swallows it. Its enlarged digestive system gives it the ability to digest a whole human being. The exterior is highly sensitive. Glimmer, Resident Evil, Dead Aim. The Glimmer was a mutated species. It appears to be a subspecies of hunter, although its exact origins unknown. As a mutated variety of hunter, it's a hybrid of a human and an animal. Its body shape is akin to a frog. It has photosensitive red compound eyes above its mouth, and due to that, it tends to keep itself in dark places. It has a tendency to vomit on threats to defend itself, and it can produce an excessive amount of stomach acid in order to rapidly digest food. Its health value can vary between difficulty modes. For example, in So Sweet, it's only 500, but in Recommended, its health value is increased to 800, and in Extreme mode, its health value goes up to 2000. The Glimmer causes more damage to the player when it vomits after jumping on it. However, it can also jump at the player without vomiting on it. The best strategy to deal with a Glimmer is to avoid it as much as possible, as trying to engage with it by attempting to kill it would be a waste of ammunition. Glasp, Resident Evil Revelations 2. Glasp is a creature featured in Resident Evil Revelations 2. Its name fully justifies what it is in essence. The name Glasp appears to combine two words, glass and grasp. The word glass reflects its ability to be invisible and transparent. The word grasp reflects the manner in which it attacks its victims. Glasp is not a man-made creature. It was a naturally created phenomenon by the T-Phobos virus, which spread throughout Sane Island. Its exact origin isn't fully established, but it appears to have developed naturally after the island's exposure to the virus. As it turns out, the Glasp has some human-like features. One can see a face with some gray hair attached and human-like legs. The skull splits in half and the brain atrophies and forms a jaw-like opening. Its abdominal and pelvic areas form a large and bulbous structure. However, the human hands disappear. Instead, we see tiny claws of an insect. We can even see 3 pairs of insect wings on the sides of its body. One can also see several short spikes growing on the legs and the heels forming on the insect's legs. 3 pairs of large insect legs grow from its back area as well. The spine, just like the skull, also breaks in half and forms an oblong jaw-like opening. Its special gas contains chemical components that can cause abnormalities in the optic nerves of living creatures. It can approach its prey and attack it without being seen. By diffracting the ambient light, it can mimic the scenery as well. It also has the ability to break the spine of a human being in half with its strong vice-like legs. After capturing its prey, it feeds its offspring by releasing them from its body onto the victim. It's quite easy to hear them due to the buzzing sound of their wings. Fat Molded, Resident Evil 7. The Fat Molded appear in Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. They're taller and bloated versions of the Molded that have significantly more body mass than their original counterparts. They can use vomit to attack their opponents due to their ability to secrete corrosive bile inside their bodies. Also, they're significantly more resilient than the other Molded, as they can withstand multiple shotgun blasts and even a whole magazine of pistol shots. As it turns out, they can withstand massive amounts of damage. They possess a hollow and gaping maw, which helps them facilitate their vomit attacks. Unlike other Molded, they don't possess sharp and bony teeth. The Fat Molded move at an extremely slow pace. If they get shot while they're in the neutral state of not attacking, they'll immediately start attacking by using their short-range vomit attacks. They can also stun their enemies by expelling their acid. In the Not a Hero DLC, 2 kinds of Fat Molded appear. First, the regular ones, and second, the ones who are headless, which can explode as well. In the End of Zoe DLC, the Fat Molded don't emit acid from the spot where they're hit. However, they will still retaliate with an attack if they're hit while they're not performing an animation. Also, the Fat Molded in this DLC can quickly recover after their attacks. If they get damaged enough by the player, they'll kneel down on the ground and retaliate with an acid attack. Sturm, Resident Evil Village. The Sturm is really weird in the sense that it has an aircraft engine in place of its upper torso. It's one of many experiments conducted by Heisenberg. It differs from Heisenberg's other test subjects in significant ways. Unlike the other test subjects, its main weapon happens to be a massive shredding device that replaces its head and torso, which can make it extremely dangerous in a head-on charge. Despite that, Heisenberg considered it a complete failure as it was uncontrollable and possessed limited intelligence. And at some point, it even lost its arms to its own propeller. Due to these reasons, Heisenberg kept it as an executioner and guard in the lower levels of his factory. Its revving engine can make a lot of noise, which makes Heisenberg shout at it for disturbing his train of thought. Just like its fellow soldats, Sturm is a human augmented with extensive cybernetics. It's powered by a Kato parasite. A massive turboprop engine with 3 chainsaw blades is mounted on its torso. It's Sturm's most notable feature, which basically makes it a lethal walking rotary fan. Its reactor exhaust is located on its back instead of its front, unlike most of the other soldats. It can easily walk and run around despite its lack of arms and top-heavy design. It doesn't seem to have any problem with recognizing Heisenberg's voice and obeying his commands. Most encounters with the Sturm involve chase sequences in one way or another. Its main attack is charging toward the player, which can cause massive damage on contact. After taking sufficient damage, it can overheat and burst into flames, perform multiple charges in succession, and rev up its propeller to engulf its surroundings, causing immense damage in the process. Samca, Resident Evil Village. Samca is a human mutant that originated in the mountainous region of Eastern Europe. It was infected by mold and became a victim of a serial killer named Alcina Dimitrescu. After being killed by Alcina, it was restored to life. But in that process, it suffered mental degradation and physically mutated into a feral bat-like creature. It's named after a folkloric monster that's believed to make pregnant women and young children sick. Samca appears to be a further mutation of another mutant called Moroike, and both of them have traits and appearances that are similar to each other in many ways. The face of a Samca is significantly deformed and it's covered by the hood of its ragged garment. It has poor eyesight and a long pointed tongue, which it uses for drinking blood. Its tongue is similar to the proboscis of a mosquito. Samca's most radical mutation can be seen in its arms, as they've mutated into large bat-like wings, and the last 3 fingers of each hand are grotesquely elongated. Its arms are bent upward and stuck at a 90-degree angle at the elbow. Although they are weaker than the Moroike, they can cause significant damage if they're allowed to attack, and occasionally they can dodge their opponent's attacks by quickly darting to the side. Samca will only attack players when they get too close to certain points. In a manner similar to a lichen, they can perch themselves on various ledges of the castle, which gives them the ability to ambush inattentive prey. Baby, Resident Evil Village. The last one we have on the list is Baby. Baby looks like a deformed fetus. Ethan Winters first encountered it at House Beneviento in 2021. It's highly likely that this creature's entire being was a manifestation due to the hallucinogenic nature of the flowers around the house. It looks like a warped representation of the infant Rosemary Winters. The creature's head looks similar to that of a human, however it's quite elastic. Baby can open its mouth wide enough to engulf a fully grown human being in a single bite. It has underdeveloped eyes and is sensitive to light, which is why it prefers to live in dark spaces. Its arms and legs are underdeveloped and it uses them to pull itself forward instead of walking. Because it's unable to lift its abdomen off the ground, its overall shape resembles that of a grasshopper. Similar to a normal human baby, it's capable of limited vocalizations, able to say words like mama and dada. Ethan had an encounter with this creature at House Beneviento when he started hallucinating from Lady Beneviento's infected plants. Once it catches hold of the player, it can swallow him whole. In the game, whenever it's chasing Ethan, it sounds and looks quite happy. However, it becomes sad again after losing track of him. The first Resident Evil game was released in 1996. 30 years later, it's expanded into a huge media franchise, and it still remains as fresh and dynamic as ever, with new possibilities. We hope Zack Krieger's Resident Evil further breathes new life into the franchise and ends up satisfying the Resident Evil fans. Alright folks, this is where we're going to sign off for the day. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure to ring that notification bell so you don't miss any more of our marvelous videos. Take care and stay tuned. We'll be back soon with our next video before you know it. Have a great day, and as always, stay marvelous.